I thought we were in this together.
You're a hypocrite. Patricia's face flushed with embarrassment. How could she take this extra money if no one else was even going to get their original investments back?
Mr. Evans,
she demanded, unsure of herself even as she said it.
Everyone here must get their money back. I'll settle for nothing less.
If he was being honest with himself, Jerry was troubled. There was no way he could return everyone's money without serious ramifications. But it appeared that Chase's mother-in-law wasn't going to back down, and he wasn't going to go up against someone in Chase's family. After a few moments, he finally agreed. All right, I can begin by giving everyone back $30,000, but I will need approval before releasing the rest. This is a company rule, and even I cannot break it. Jerry could see that this was mostly satisfactory. In fact, some of the crowd hadn't even contributed that much. They weren't going to complain now. As to the matter of Patricia receiving more than her share, the hushed consensus was that she was Chase's family after all, and perhaps she deserved to receive a bit more. When the matter was settled, Patricia pulled Chase aside and asked,
Chase, was it really you that called Mr. Evans and asked him to come down here?
Chase stammered. He hesitated for a moment and replied, I can't take the credit. I only called a former classmate of mine and asked if he could help. Even I didn't expect Mr. Evans to get here so quickly. Patricia felt oddly relieved to hear Chase's explanation. She really didn't want to start believing that he was anything but less than what her daughter deserved.
Really?
She thought to herself.
How could a good-for-nothing like Chase impress a man like Mr. Evans?
It was settled. Chase had called a friend. He really was a loser after all.
Then thank that classmate of yours, she said to Chase. And if he's ever in town, please let him know he's welcome over any time.
Meanwhile, Chad had retreated into a corner of the building's foyer and was assessing the damage to his face. Worst of the damage to his face was the fact that he'd been shown up by Chase. He wasn't going to forget this. One day Chase would get what was coming to him. Chad took one last look at the scene before walking away toward his car, trying to ignore the sounds of Chase's victory behind him. After receiving their funds from Jerry, the rest of the group went their separate ways. Once everyone was gone, Chase got on his car and headed for the... Ever since Chase had taken over Blitz Tech, he had done his best to be a good boss. Having spent so much time as an employee, he knew what it felt like to be ignored and belittled. And such, he encouraged his employees to speak to him openly and directly. It was in this fashion that upon his arrival, the manager came running out of the office with an update. Mr. Rothman, as we spoke over the phone, I've already arranged our old company cars to be pulled from the garage to make room for the new models you've requested. Would you like to visit the dealership today to discuss the acquisition? Chase was often passing duties off to Yolanda these days, and so figured they could go to the dealership together so she could be kept up to speed with the transition in case he was needed somewhere else. They agreed to meet there. Once at the dealership, Chase was greeted by a beautiful young saleswoman. She was wearing light makeup and her hair had been swept up in a loose bun. Welcome, my name is Jenny, she greeted him. I'll be assisting with your purchase today. Please, feel free to look around and let me know if you have any questions. I will be in my office when you are ready to discuss pricing. Chase folded his hands behind his back and casually asked with a smile, which one has better performance? What would be your recommendation? Jenny adjusted her glasses and looked at Chase. He was wearing ordinary clothes, and based on her experience, he likely couldn't afford anything too expensive. She walked him over to a white Volkswagen Atlas. Sir, this is our store's best-selling model. It gets great mileage per gallon. Plus, we have some great monthly payment plans available for this option right now. Yes, Chase nodded in approval. The car was simple but pleasant to look at. He was satisfied with the price and asked Jenny, "How many of this model do you have in store right now?" "Excuse me?" Jenny replied. She must have misheard him. "Here's the deal," began Chase. "I'm planning to upgrade my company's cars, so the order will be relatively large. I'm wondering how many you have in store." Jenny fidgeted with her glasses. She gave Chase another look. He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. How big of a company could this man possibly run? "How many cars are you looking for?" Jenny asked politely. Chase thought about it for a moment and said simply, "Let's start with 100 and we can come back for another order in a few months." Jenny's jaw dropped. She had been a saleswoman for Volkswagen for 3 years and had seen her fair share of clients, some of them even ordering 3 to 4 cars at a time. But this man was about to make the biggest purchase she had ever heard of. One Atlas alone was over $30,000. His full order would cost well over $3 million. "Sir, do you really want to purchase 100 cars?" Jenny asked again. Chase looked around and saw that perhaps she was hesitant because she didn't have the stock to fulfill his order. "Look," he said, "I'm not picky. If you don't have enough of the Atlas, I'll take whatever models you have. Just get the paperwork ready for 100 cars and we'll be good to go. My only request is that we don't go over budget by $5 million. Jenny stood there in disbelief. This man was messing with her, right? She sighed and asked, "Sir, are you really here to buy a car? If not, I have work that I should get back to." "What are you talking about?" Now it was Chase's turn to be confused. He'd expressed his intention and even made it easy for her. What was the problem? Jenny no longer had the patience. She'd seen people like Chase before. Dressed in cheap clothes, they'd come into the store to look around and pretend they were wealthy, if only for an hour. Sometimes they even brought a date to try to impress them. "Listen, you're not the first person to come in here who couldn't afford a car," said Jenny. "But you are the first person to take the joke to such an extreme." With that, Jenny gently put her hand on Chase's shoulder and directed him toward the exit. Chase sighed. Not this again."
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.